As an overseas Pakistani, obviously one of the things that we were motivated to do is how can we change the image of Pakistan, what can be our contribution to that. We decided to kind of start off with Pakistan because we were like, no, there's so much more talent, there's so much more crafts, and there's so much more opportunity here that can be leveraged. I happened to be traveling a lot during that time when I was with Microsoft. Every time I went to these different countries, I liked the arts and crafts, that something very native to these countries, and whenever I would bring them back to Seattle, all my friends, family, and different strangers will come up and ask, where are these things from? But I had no place to point them. So that was the idea initially for a marketplace, that how do we bring these native artisans on the top. I was visiting Pakistan, I bought these sandals as souvenirs, I gave it to my friends, and I was like, okay, we're gonna start with shoes. So we launched the Kickstarter campaign in 2016. We were not even product ready. We did not have a product developed at that time. And we raised $60,000 in 30 days. We had 700 backers that came across different parts of the world. So that's when Rameez, my co-founder, and we decided to say goodbye to our tech jobs, and we started building Fuchsia full-time. We conducted a lot of surveys and we spoke to our early customers, like what are the things they look for when they buy flat shoes. And we discovered that comfort and durability is the number 1 thing. In the local markets, khussas are notorious to pinch your feet. So what Rameez's role was to kind of engineer the product for the global market. And he spent 3 months on the ground with the artisans that we decided to work with. They were based out of Sangla Hills. We don't create any inventory at the moment. So what happens in the chain is when a customer comes on a Fuchsia's website, they place an order, we don't ship the product to them right away. What we do is basically that week, the artisans will start working on a batch where that shoe will be made on a custom order. So as a result, the customer is waiting for 2 to 3 weeks before they receive the physical product. So we turned that whole waiting period as a sharing product story experience that is built on a blockchain infrastructure. As soon as their order starts being made, we send them a production email telling them that these 3 artisans, they are based out of Sangla Hills, have started working on your shoes. They are at the moment cutting the leather. 2 days later, another email goes out that talks about stitching. After that, they get on a train from Sangla Hills to Karachi, where our logistics office is. The product gets inspected by the quality guy, and then from there, they get on a plane from Karachi to Seattle. That's where our fulfillment center is. And from there, we shipped the shoes to the final customers that are based within USA. First year was very challenging because I was coming from corporate world where you're slave to that paycheck, right? And you're not doing things are not working out, and you will still get paid, right? You have that comfort. Your weekends are your own. You can still take vacation. I don't get to do all of that in this business. So yes, it's a lot more khuwaari and it's a lot more work. It feels like moving a rock off the mountain at times. you feel like I'm a human, so I do feel like giving it up. But at the same time, I feel the impact that we can create with this product all over the country and at some point all over the world is tremendous. And I think that vision is what drives me. As far as the workmanship is concerned, khussa making is a dying art, especially the type of khussa that we are making, which is in a stitched construction versus a pasting construction that is widely available in the local markets. With the stitching construction, not a lot of artisans were doing that. The ones that were doing were competing against the mass-produced goods in the local market. So they were not getting paid well, or they were getting exploited by the middleman. And then there was no consistency in their work. Like they would have work for 15 days and then they will be out of work for 15 days, right? Until a new order comes in and they start making it. With our business model, we are bringing these artisans on a full-time salaried model. And we are making sure that they're making 3x more than what they were making before Fuchsia exists. Because we have a seasonality attached with our product. So the months that we are not making enough sales, we will always make sure that we are placing a certain order for our shoes for the artisans in Sangla Hills. So they're taking home salaries that, you know, what we promised. So we brought that shop in a sustainable model. We did a lot of innovations, like we put a foam lining inside that feels in the footbed. So there's a lot of padding. We covered the leather walls of the khussas with a suede lining, so it gives a softer feel to our customer's foot. We do an extra layer of a rubber sole. It's a sheet sole on top of leather, and now it has turned out to be the most popular shoe category in our entire catalog. Because we were working with a lot of cottage industry artisans, a handmade product, and that is a shoe, right? So we had a big challenge of getting the standardization and the sizing correct, right? And the quality of the product. Now these artisans are used to work in a way that they have been for centuries. So just training them to change their mindset was a big challenge. When you go to Fuchsia's product pages, you see an API that says look beyond the label, and it's a static story of that product, right? But it talks about the craftsmanship, the artisans, the process. When you're buying a certain product, all you see is what is the provenance around that product. We see that they're made in China, they're made in Bangladesh, and that's it. And that's what we are trying to change, that how can we provide that sort of exposure and transparency to the customers, that they are looking beyond the label and they're building that connection so they feel that they're involved. And that's the impact that their purchase have created in the overall, in the broader picture. We have an infrastructure where we can do 1,000 shoes a month at the scale we are in. Instead of just doing a handmade sort of a model, we are moving into a hybrid handcrafted model where I am sourcing the shoe soles and the uppers and all the shoe parts from factories in Pakistan. And the artisans don't have to get involved in like raw material procurement or preparing before they start putting the shoes together. So they get all these pre-made shoe parts, and they just focus on the craftsmanship by putting the shoe together. So we are getting more consistency towards our quality, sizing, and the product is getting better, and our supply chain is getting more efficient. I think I would start talking about the brand and the idea a lot more earlier than what I did. I have learned that building a startup requires a community. It cannot be done in a silo, right? So I would get out there, I would find my customers very early on, and I would start interviewing them, and I would start getting insights out of them. Never go and talk about your startup problems with people who haven't done startups before. Never do that, because they will give you a very rational thought and they will make you feel like you shouldn't be doing it. Finding that own startup community, like that pool of people that have been in the same journey, really helps. And then identifying those people, your people, that you can share those experiences and learn from is very crucial.